The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, pharmacies say they are not equipped for government's proposed plans to provide more medicines for Bahamians. We talk about that this evening. Your sexual health tonight. Listen up. The Ministry of Health sounding the alarm over the increase in sexually transmitted infections and diseases right here in the Bahamas. And what do you need to see from the person who has perhaps already began knocking on your door, seeking your vote in 2026? We talk about it tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. As the government prepares to roll out the NIB chronic drug prescription plan, stakeholders in the pharmaceutical industry have criticized the initiative, saying due to the lack of details on costs, consultation, and logistics, there needs to be a halt to the plan until pertinent questions are answered. We're going to get to the bottom of where the industry stands right now. Joining me this evening is President of the Pharmaceutical Association, Dr. Marvin Smith. Dr. Smith, good evening to you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you here.
It's good to be back.
It's good to see you. You always come very stern with something. In this instance,
smiling today.
You're smiling this evening. Okay, well, let's do it then. Dr. Smith, the pharmaceutical supplies is the main concern you're saying. Roll with me on the doggone TP. Let's begin by getting an understanding of the glaring error in the government's plan to expand how many people can benefit from the National Drug Plan.
So here's the issue, Shanique. We talking about...
Turn on the audio and turn it down, please. Yes?
So here's the issue we have. The government has said that they want to cover up to 160,000 people in this rollout for the chronic disease prescription drug program. All right? The program that right now sees about 44,000 people. Mm-hmm. They have made no concrete plans of what that means from moving this from the National Insurance Board that they did in June to the Ministry of Health, and now from the Ministry of Health to the National Health Insurance Agency. They have not given the stakeholders any layout of what the processes are going to be, what the changes are going to be. You simply can't add people to an insurance process and expect that services remain the same. And so for the Bahamian people, I want to take care of a couple of things first. First of all, anybody that tells you that they're giving you free medications is lying to you. Okay? Mm-hmm. Nothing is free. Mm-hmm. Somebody is paying for it.
Someone's paying for it.
And in this particular system, what happens is the government contracts out and says, these are the products we want you to stock. These are the people that are going to be approved for those particular things. And keep in mind, that's not a blanket approval. You see your doctor and your doctor says, I think they need this. Another person sees another doctor and they say, well, I think they should use this. The insurance decides, based on a lot of different factors, what they're covering and what they're not. National insurance is no different from that. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's an insurance program. The difference is the government is asking for pharmacies to say, as a supplier and as a distributor and then as a dispenser, you will provide this for this blanket group of people. Okay? The pharmacies then go out, the suppliers have to go out and buy it. And they're supposed to buy a minimum 3-month supply. Okay? Then the local pharmacy, your community pharmacy, has to go out and purchase it from them in the hope that you're going to walk through the door, be covered by NIB. You will then be written for this thing, and you get it at the counter at no cost to you, and then they bill the government. That's not free. That's called a benefit. All right? So if you're adding in another 116,000 beneficiaries, but you have yet to tell the stakeholders, both the suppliers and the on the ground, the point of sale distributors, we call them community pharmacies, who those 116,000 people are. What are their disease states? What is the demographics? What are their anticipated costs in terms of uploading stock for what is essentially a quadrupling of the amount of people?
So you're saying, so what the Pharmaceutical Association is saying, it's too vague and broad, a number one. Two, the conditions are too vast.
Vague would be an upgrade, okay? This isn't difficult, all right? And I'm gonna put this in terms that every behemoth can understand, all right? You have 4 people living in your house. You know that in a week when you go to the food store, you need a gallon of milk, all right, and 2 boxes of cornflakes, all right? Because not only because you know the 4 people in your house, but because they've lived in your house, you know what they eat and how they eat.
Right.
If I say to you...
You can kind of create a budget. What is it that we need?
I am now adding 12 more people to your house. So, do they drink milk? I don't know. Do they eat cereal? I don't know. But you tell me it's my job to make sure that when they wake up in the morning, they have to have something there. No, if I said that to any reasonable thinking behemoth, they'd look at me and tell me I was crazy.
But that's what those same reasonable behemoths would also say, listen, we welcome this addition because many people perhaps are towing a line and waiting to get in. So they're saying, why can't this be simplified? What is the happy median?
We have no problem with the people coming in.
What is the happy median that the Pharmaceutical Association and the government and the Ministry of Health needs to reach so that this plan can be expanded? And them, listen, you know the Bahamas is still in the top 10 of obesity and chronic illnesses and issues, and the population is getting older. More people are on medication. So they are trying to say, first of all, they applauded the announcement, but obviously you all are saying it was ill thought out and perhaps ill timed, but they're applauding that. What needs to happen to get this thing where it should be?
So let's be clear. There is zero issue from the Pharmacy Association with the program being expanded. Zero. We welcome the fact that access to care is going to go for more people and we can partner with the government. And since 2012, we have partnered with every single government. No matter what color the government has been, we have partnered in this program. The NID programs have been around from 2012, okay? And from day one, the pharmacists have partnered with this, okay? What we're saying is this, not that you can't add 116,000 people. What we're saying is you need to tell us, what are the demographics? What are the things we need to prepare for?
What's needed?
And then you're not just bringing in new people. You're creating them in a whole new agency. Keep in mind the move now is different. We wrote the minister on October 9th.
I know, last year.
Okay? And said to them, you've moved it to the ministry. Keep in mind, it was an NIB. It moved to the ministry. We said to the minister, tell us what this is going to do in terms of that. We've gotten no response.
Hold on, from last year, October?
From last year, October.
You mean that Dr. Michael Darville, the Minister of Health,
we sent emails and we sent hard copies. I physically delivered the letter to the office at the Ministry of Health.
Do you feel as though the Ministry of Health is more efficient than where it was in handling this and doing, but you don't know? I guess you're trying to say you don't know.
Here's the issue, and we don't have to guess. The midterm budget has gone through. They're debating the midterm budget now in the Senate. It's gone through Parliament. How much money has been allocated for this program
that is necessary and about to be expanded?
Right.
How much?
Not a single extra dollar.
You know Dr. Smith, stop.
Not a single extra dollar.
Dr. Smith, in this nation where many people are on medication and have issues that the government sees the necessity of expanding the program to begin with so that they are covered with in terms of medicine, how much was allocated? Not
a single extra dollar.
When is the program set to come into effect?
Well,
or the expansion?
They claim it's coming in the next fiscal year. The next fiscal year starts July 1st.
July 1st.
Okay? Now, you can't tell me See,
So that means y'all should be trying to purchase now and load up
do
and
you
to prepare.
This is exactly the thing. When you have supply chain issues that say you have to have
You
it
bet
90
right.
days
You
out,
bet right.
right? And see, this is the issue. This is the issue we have. And again, let me be clear about this. The Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, the involvement of pharmacy is both distribution and wholesale. And the beginning of this program, throughout this program, has come through the BPA. Okay? We formed the owners group to negotiate with then Prime Minister Hubert Ingram to make this happen. Okay? And we've worked with every government. Not one single government can say we push back on them. So if you're going to make any sort of substantial changes, not only are we your partners, we're the experts because we're the one executing the program.
So there was no consultation either?
Zero.
Because you mentioned supply chain, I imagine efficacy of medication is involved in that, how to easily access this medication, because after all, other countries are competing for the same medication, right?
Not just that. When you look at the fact that a significant amount of our meds come from North America, and that what's been happening at the ministry level is this parallel movement to move away from Asian meds, right? Right, which is silly because that's the number one producer of meds in the world. It's an absolute silly concept, right? But we've been listening to our neighbors in Latin America who've been whispering in our ears, right? Now, with the Trump tariffs, okay, everything you buying out of the U.S. because the crazy part about it is the U.S. don't make no drugs.
They get it from the same people.
They only package it when it reaches there.
Repackage, yes.
Okay, so the cost is going to go up. All right, for North American goods, including pharmaceuticals, all right? The supply market's going to tighten because people are going to rush now to buy stuff while it's still at a lower price before these tariffs fully go into play, all right? And we are sitting here not knowing...
But you all are sitting ducks, basically, because you don't know what to do, how to move forward. And again, as you say, no consultation.
And here's the issue.
How is it that the announcement could have been made? Again, you wrote a letter, you personally, I saw the letter myself, signed by you, to the Minister of Health, addressed directly to him. How are you expected to move forward, or how could this announcement have been made without just a sit down to be able to say, this is what's needed, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we're going to be effective in it, so that the Bahamian, see, that's the bottom line right there. The Bahamian people who are depending on the public health care system, who desperately need the public health care system to get these breaks and to be able to access medication.
And see, here's the issue. There's two issues here. One is it's a general lack of consultation. And I used to think they was just picking on the Pharmacy Association. Till I watch the news today and I see that they picking on the construction flow too, because they've been making new laws. Ain't talk to the Construction Association, right? We did this. I was here months ago when we talked about medical cannabis. And again, what was the issue? No consultation. We waited till the last minute, the Friday before they took the act, the next week, to try to get it right. Okay, they finally invited us to the table. We had to fix what they put. And here's the thing, we're happy to fix what they put because we are partners with the government. When the government of the Bahamas gets it right, the people of the Bahamas benefit. My members are people of the Bahamas.
Yes.
We don't worry about red and yellow and all this other stuff, right?
Yes.
We want them to get it right. Now here's the second part about it. If the government is only announcing this because it sounds good to announce it, and then it don't come off, who gets blamed?
Y'all.
Okay, because the customers, patients aren't walking into the Ministry of Health office saying, "Here's my prescription, fill my prescription."
No, this here is a real need,
and
it's urgent.
Is business. Listen, these are business people whose livelihood, whose profession is at stake. We are not trying to run away from the increase in people.
And that's what I wanted to ask. So this is not the Pharmaceutical Association playing hardball with the government just to flex muscles and say, listen, Darville, we can show you.
If it don't work, you realize that if it doesn't work, if this program doesn't work, and let's say I own the pharmacy, I don't, but let's say I own the pharmacy, and this program sucked, okay? And you walked into my pharmacy and you couldn't get what you want in this program. Do you realize that puts a bad taste in your mouth for my pharmacy? And you're not going to say, well, let me go see what else I can buy. You're going to turn around, suck it, and walk out. See, this affects everything down the line. And so we're not just trying to say, y'all need to come talk to us because we got an ego or we want to make the government come. These things impact the actual day-to-day business of Bahamians. All right? And keep in mind, pharmacy is one of the few things in this country where every pharmacy owner has to be a Bahamian. Okay? So we ain't talking about no foreigners and these other folk down the road. This your auntie, this your cousin, this your church member.
So then do you feel as though it's a disregard for Bahamian-owned businesses, pharmacists, the owners of pharmacy who are all Bahamian? Do you feel as though then maybe that's why the attitude is, man, we ain't need to talk to you all. Come, let's get this done.
Well, you know, and here's the other part about it. Take away the experience we had with medicinal cannabis, right? Since then, we've heard government officials talk about, well, we can go buy drugs from Paho, or we can go foreign and go direct. So what does that send a message to the pharmacy profession here in the Bahamas? Then the first time we hear about an expansion is when somebody announces it in Parliament. It says to us, when see alone, they're separate pieces. But when you start putting the puzzle together, it paints a picture that the government doesn't really care about Bahamian pharmacy. And this is a problem, because now I want them to go to PAHO, because PAHO is funded under the WHO. The major financial supplier for the WHO just told them,
we are not funding you anymore.
We are not funding you anymore. So go figure out how you can get it from PAHO. Okay? All right? And with the tariffs and everything else and the supply chain tightening up, we are too small for a lot of the direct stuff that they think.
What do you see happening if you all don't come together with the Ministry of Health urgently right away? Because quite frankly, the new fiscal year is right. It's like you could touch it. It's right.
The program is going to crash, and here's what's going to happen if it does crash. You can be sure that we will let the Bahamian people know on whose shoulders the crash rests.
But how urgent is it for this to happen? Because again, I described...
People need their meds.
I see, and that's
they
right
need
there.
It.
That's right there. Especially doggone people who are vulnerable because of financially vulnerable.
Yes, we need this. And the government should be happy that the most expert people in doing this, the people who own the pharmacies, okay? Because these ain't just people who got money and say go own the pharmacy. These are pharmacists, trained folk, are willing to say to them, we want to help you, let's get it done right.
Make a plea to the Ministry of Health, because you are now speaking on behalf of the actual people who are in desperate need of the service through NHI that you provide.
I'm not going to make a plea to the Ministry of Health. I'm going to make a plea to the Bahamian people. Okay? Call your MPs. Call your constituency generals. Call your party officials and say to them, you want these meds. You want extra access for you and your people and your family and your friends. And tell the government to work with us so we can get it right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marvin Smith. Dr. Marvin Smith, President of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, speaking on something that is set to come into effect July 1st. But he says there are no plans, no talks, no kind of nothing going on, and the pharmaceutical industry is just sitting there wondering what's going on. Well, that has to get together and quick, because your health depends on it, and your recovery depends on it. You being on your necessary medication depends on it. Thank you once again, Dr. Smith. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're going to take a break and come back with much more after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Who are the boss for dancer?
International events and production. Alive, Bahamas Air, Everybody Wins Live, and Field of Vibes Bahamas Weekend presents
the Evolution Concert on Saturday, March 29th at Clifford Park, featuring Vibes Cartel and Friends.
Bahamas, Nassau, where you see Saturday the 29th of March.
It's one of the biggest events to hit the shores of Nassau, Bahamas.
Get ready for Addy the Teacher, the Dancehall King, aka the World Boss, Vibes Cartel.
Real bad man, no muggle in a shot.
Log into our official airline Bahamas Air for travel specials. It gets better. We're also giving away a brand new Cybertruck.
And up to $50,000 in cash and prizes at the concert. Compliments of Everybody Wins Live.
Log into our website, feelthevibesweekend.com.
For tickets, tables, skyboxes, and more info.
Visit Ticket Flair or email intlevents242@gmail.com.
WhatsApp or call 1242-808-2369.
I remember Cartel I go did it.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation?
You mean the Ministry of Tourism?
No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You know what they say, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do?
What does do?
Hey, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, I'll tell you, you all saw in the first segment Dr. Marvin Smith, president of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, speaking out about the government's plan, a welcomed initiative, if we ought to be honest, to provide more medicine to Bahamians, a greater number of Bahamians. Right now it's around 40,000+. The government wants to take that number to over 100,000. However, he says they're not going about it the right way. The pharmacists are unaware, uninformed, and really have no, I guess, direction or mandate in which and so that they can have a direction to move forward in. This is what Dr. Smith said in our first segment. And so we are going to get in right there and get some responses from the Hot Topics panel. And so I'll tell you this, many people depend heavily on the success of this program and its expansion, but it must be done the right way. And so we're going to get in right there. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, our contributors, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas.
Gentlemen, you all heard Dr. Smith in the first segment. Your responses to what he had to say for a program that is quite welcomed, awesome even when it was introduced, and the fact that it's been going since that time, and now with talks of expanding it, but the pharmacies are saying, hold up, we don't know what you're talking about.
Shanique, in the absence of hearing, prior to me hearing what the gentleman had to say earlier, when I heard the government roll out the initiative in Parliament, I thought, wow, a wonderful initiative as we continue to expand NHI and to make our health care affordable for all Bahamians. I thought this was a wonderful initiative. However, the government got to kind of be a little more tardy when it's doing these things and putting these things forward, because I know this is an election year and they probably have a lot on their agenda to roll out and all that type of stuff. But we got to get things done in order, okay? Obviously, you have to have a conversation with the professionals as to how this thing is going to roll out. You didn't put a timeline on this of the beginning of the fiscal year 2025, 2026. You got to be a little more tardy with these type of things, and you can't play with people's emotion. There are Bahamians that need these stuff. You know, we are very aging and ailing nation, and so we must be careful. The government got to be a little more tardy with this. So hopefully the government can meet with them, and it's kind of disappointing, Shanique, when you talk about the letters that they've sent from October of last year. These are sector people, like he alluded to a number of times. They are partners with the government, and you can't be trying to do things without your partner on board. Obviously, it's not going to get very far, and he spoke about it possibly crashing. And so the government got to pay attention to these type of people. You got to be able to stop, have time to have the discussion. If they sent you a communication, at least respond to the communication so that you all can be on the same page. And I applaud the government for wanting to do this, but let's get it right, and let's make sure that Bahamians are able to benefit from this wonderful initiative that you're attempting to put forth, and it doesn't come with all kind of hiccups. And we've heard from time to time when government put initiatives forth, and then later months and even sometimes years later, nothing had happened, because obviously at some point they've put the a cart before the horse, and then they've got to go back and reorganize and replan the whole thing over.
I find this whole situation very difficult to believe. There's no way that the government would have come with a plan like that in Parliament to present to Bahamian people. I'm not talking about the dialogue without having all their marbles in place. First and foremost, the first question is whether the government is going to distribute these medicines through the clinics that they're upgrading. There are very many clinics in New Providence being upgraded, as well as the Family Islands, and whether they're going to have it done at the hospital in New Providence or in Grand Bahama. I will not believe that what was said tonight was the stated position of the government of Bahamas. No government will operate in that fashion. And don't forget now, with the greatest respect to the gentleman who was here, the people who are going to get medicine from these pharmacists, the pharmacists are being paid, eh? You'd get the impression that this is a freebie for them. They're being paid.
They are.
So I'm sure all the pharmacies are going to be ready for it when it comes to being with putting this in place. So I don't think we should alarm ourselves. We need to hear the side of the story from the minister and his team of professionals who will put that together to go to Parliament.
I imagine, Leslie, that is why he came and spoke out this evening, because you're very right. The minister does need to speak to this. This has been now, this gentleman has been speaking out, I think, since Monday. It's been in the news. Address it. Don't let it just linger out there. Get on it and address it.
And there's no doubt in my mind it will be addressed.
You can't just say that they're being paid and they will be paid.
No, I'm saying that all that we buy from anywhere, we pay for it, either us or the government.
But these are the people who must first of all know what it is that we're buying, know what are the parameters, what people are coming in. They must be
properly informed.
I'm sure
so they have to be informed.
It will be done before the plan.
But it's the middle of March. It's the middle of March. If the program is if the expansion is to be put into effect July 1, then it should be in motion now.
They need 3 months.
You have a lot of leeway.
With the world needing the same medication.
The majority of the imports of medicine in this country is bought in by the two main big pharmaceutical giants in the country.
Nonetheless.
Okay? It's bought in through them. And the government dialogue is normally through them. The small pharmacist gets their goods from those two giants in the country. So the dialogue would initiate with those persons who are going to bring in the bulk of it and who has the financial wherewithal to either get credit on the goods or be able to pay for getting the medicine here in the Bahamas.
So you are saying that while the discussion may not have happened yet with the pharmaceutical...
It will happen before the plant...
But wait, it's happening with the ones
who bring it in. There's no doubt in my mind, it is.
The major pharmaceutical
suppliers have been involved in this program. There's no doubt about that.
That does sound more...
Absolutely no doubt.
That sounds...
And they filtered on to the smaller ones.
To them.
Who is in no position...
So then you all start communicating.
To harness those on.
You all start communicating because it sounds sloppy. It sounds sloppy. Yeah. So pharmaceutical giants in the Bahamas start communicating with the pharmacies and the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association.
They now need to converse with the pharmacists.
I absolutely agree. Okay. I agree.
And the stuff is that, one pharmacy that's closed down in R&D Plaza last week. One of the pharmacies,
you mean up here?
Yeah, right there. They closed.
They're closed?
They closed last week.
Well, that's what the man saying.
They closed last week.
This is one of the things that he was alluding to.
So there's immense pressure there on those pharmacies. And, the price has gone up tremendously,
It has.
Since COVID, tremendously.
And continually going up.
I can tell you. So, I'm sure that the government will put in place all the parameters that is necessary to safeguard the people of the Bahamas. I don't give that second thought, to be honest with you.
Maybe it's become a volatile industry.
It is. And only those who have the financial wherewithal is going to survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
The small ones will fall and die, like anything else in any business.
Interesting. Gentlemen, this is cause for concern, and we all must pay attention to this. A surge in sexually transmitted infections is raising red flags in the Bahamas tonight, with a sharp increase in chlamydia and syphilis cases, and a warning from health officials, get this, that HIV numbers could follow. Now, I heard from a medical professional about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that HIV and AIDS has gone back to number one, but I'm just reading this evening. New data reveals over 130 cases in just 1 month, a staggering spike that has doctors urging immediate action. So who's most at risk, and who or what does this mean for public health? We get the story from Janea Noel.
STIs, including chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, and HIV, and others, are transmitted by unprotected sex.
Health officials urging residents to get tested for sexually transmitted infections, or STIs, as there's been an increase in cases over the last month. Head of the HIV and Infectious Diseases Unit, Dr. Nakia Forbes, putting it plainly that despite cases reported, those numbers could be much higher.
It is likely that the lab-confirmed cases are an underreport because people can have symptoms and they can go and seek treatment. They may not have a lab test to confirm it. And we have to pay attention, because if we see chlamydia rates going up, this may be followed by other STIs like gonorrhea, syphilis, and indeed HIV, although we do not have the complete data to bear that out at this time.
Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville giving a breakdown on the data and which demographic has been most vulnerable.
In February, there were some 131 reported cases, which is a significant rise in cases compared to the unit's typical monthly total. According to the data, two most affected groups are between the ages of 15 to 19 and 20 to 24, which accounts for approximately 27% of reported cases.
Dr. Forbes giving the telltale signs, but also says that testing is necessary as not everyone displays symptoms.
In the case of chlamydia, there's pain during urination. There's abnormal discharge from the vagina or the penis or the rectum, and there can be lower abdominal pain. In the case of gonorrhea, these are the similar symptoms, but they can also cause pain and swelling in the testicles or pelvic pain in women. Syphilis starts as a painless sore. It then progresses, that sore will go away. It then progresses to rashes, lymph node or gland swelling, and at later stages, it can be very serious. It can affect the organs of the body, including the heart and the brain.
And if left untreated, there can be some serious complications, especially for women.
Infertility, pelvic inflammatory disease, and in the case of syphilis, damage to the brain, the heart, and the organs. And they can also cause an increase in HIV transmission. That's very important. The breach in the private area and the inflammation in the private area makes it easier to get HIV with unprotected sex. And we do not have a currently widely available cure for HIV. It's a very serious infection.
Partner testing, she stressed, is also essential.
That your sexual partners are tested and treated to prevent reinfections and further spread. So if you have an STI, you can be treated, but if you have that partner and go back and have unprotected sex, you'll be infected again. Sex partners need to be tested and treated, and this helps to break the chain of transmission. And so your healthcare provider will be asking for you to send your partners in so that they can get screened and tested and treated also.
To that end, the Ministry of Health will be offering testing to combat the concerning increase.
My ministry encourages all sexually active individuals to take charge of their own sexual health. 1, get tested regularly for STIs and HIV because knowing your status is key. We're advising individuals to practice safer sex by using protection such as a condom. And lastly, to seek medical care immediately if you experience symptoms.
And so there you have quite a serious issue. And you know what? Dr. Darville mentioned a moment ago getting tested, but you know the best test, the most safest test is not having to be tested, because why? You are practicing safe sex. I know we're speaking to adults here, so let me not be the preacher, But the best thing is, listen.
But did they give any indication as to who these persons are? Are they
Man, it's
regular,
everybody. It's
naturalized, Bahamian?
It's everybody. No, it's everybody.
You say naturalized. So who you think?
Are people bringing this disease in with them?
Leslie,
I'm just only asking the question.
Bahamians grinding and they doing it. The Bahamians are not using protection. Absolutely. And they out there will make you think it's foreigners who go in and testing positive. Is everybody out there exactly out there being frisky? So as I was saying, I'll let you both respond in a minute. Leslie, why are you smiling? That's a Bahamian colloquialism.
Doing what?
They doing exactly what I said they doing just now. And the thing wrong with that word. As I was saying, you know, be responsible, eh? Wait for either to be partnered up or married. In fact, I push for marriage because you wouldn't have to face. Leslie, be quiet. Ellington, your thoughts? Your thoughts on the report we just read? Because Leslie, let me tell you something.
Yes, we need to definitely be responsible with our sexuality, and the minister talked about wearing the protective condoms or make sure you're tested. I think we need to become more sensitive. We've dropped our guard over the years. Everybody talk about the medications that are now available, and we've kind of, it fade away. I think there need to be public health announcement about these things on a regular basis again, like when HIV used to be #1, where it is that it is probably almost to #1, if not #1 again. And so the public announcement need to come to continue to educate our people, men and women out there. Sometimes you may think somebody is a decent person and oh well, they're decent, I decent, and you can do, but you don't know who their last partner is, and you don't know what their last partner lifestyle was like. So we got to be responsible, protect ourselves, protect others. Wear your condoms, be safe, or abstinence until
this is really
marriage.
baffling to me that.
And even when you come to the point of marriage, I think two persons getting together, I think you should both do a test before you come to the point
that's
of
it right there. That's
intimacy.
It. And you know, and so fine. People may say, "Oh, Shanique, oh my God, you're so old-fashioned." So let's be real then. The reality is, thank you, thank you. But the reality then, okay, fine. You're adult. You can do what you want to do. But before you go and figure you're going to sleep with someone, both of you get tested.
Absolutely.
Leslie, so you see him stunned. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm really shocked of those figures that were given out today by Dr. Darwell. They are very serious diseases that takes human lives, and only that spread like hellfire.
Yeah.
If I sleep with you and I sleep with somebody else, and it goes to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and it goes to the poor innocent housewife.
That
affects everybody. This is damning.
Yeah.
That this thing is out of whack in our country. I urge all Bahamians, all people who live in Bahamas who are here,
be
and those who may visit us, to be extremely careful. I guess it's a time now to be with those who you know and not, you know, I don't know what else to say.
Be with those you know. Shocked. Be with that one person.
Or you think you know.
Be that with that person, that one person.
But my question is, where did this high spike? How did this get in?
This is a highly sexual active country.
Right.
Young and old.
Young and old. You see, it's not just one demographic. And the thing is, we have kind of just dismissed and figure if we don't think about HIV and AIDS and the other sexually transmitted infections and diseases, then it wouldn't be an issue. But apparently it is because it's crept up.
Is AIDS not a #1 disease in the country today again, like it used to be?
They have not officially said that. They have not officially said that. I said a doctor informed me about 2 weeks ago that that was the issue, but they have not. Just now, they didn't officially say it, but they said more than likely the numbers are also creeping up based on what they're seeing everywhere else.
Because she did say that syphilis and other stuff, if you not catch them in time, it can heighten the risk of you attracting HIV/AIDS.
Well, I can tell you, brothers, that be careful and hold on to the two which you got. Be very, very careful. Or dog eat your lunch. That's all.
Leslie, what two you got? What two? When you turn your back to go to the next one, the next one's slipping out.
Based on what you said, I guess I can say the 2 eggs, eh?
So Sarah is your extra friend. Sarah have an extra friend too, you know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it right there. That's all this.
Clear, Sarah, that's all I can say. Go to Mary Jane.
Listen, gentlemen, you know, we're going to keep moving along this evening. It's an issue that regional governments are on the defensive about tonight. We are going going to get into that we're going to get into that when we come back right here on Beyond the Headlines. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to talk about something that could quite frankly affect the Bahamas as well. Stay close.
So my name is Dr. Sophia Roll. I'm the resident artist for the Via Hamea Art House and Gallery. This is not something that I've gone to school for, if you will. I'm a professor. I recently got into art in 2015 because it was something that I always wanted to do. I saw something about fluid art, the abstract expressionism of fluid art really drew me. And so I'm always thinking now about art. I see the world through art. So that is, for me, very, very gratifying, very, very satisfying. So receiving the Women's Initiative grant really impacted the business because it allowed me to see in that I could have taken my craft, my art, outside of the gallery walls and really maximizing on some of the training, some of the skills that we learned. The advice that I would give to not only women, but anyone who's interested in starting a small business or starting a business is to just get started. You have to take the first step. And if you take the first step, you'd be amazed at how far you can continue to walk in that space.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Starling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands, like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry commercial vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon, flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
Island Luck Sportsbook is taking you to the NBA playoffs. That's right. Every $20 bet placed between February 24th and April 1st earns you an entry to win an all-expense-paid trip to an NBA playoff game. Imagine being in the stands, feeling the energy, and watching your favorite team battle for a championship. The more you bet, the more chances you have to win. So don't miss out. Place your bets now at Island Luck Sportsbook and get ready for the experience of a lifetime. Weekly drawings every Tuesday at 3 p.m. starting March 4th. Visit islandluck.com/sports for more details. Who's ready to fly off to the NBA playoffs?
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Listen, there you have it. I haven't even gone to the story yet, and the discussion has happened, but we will move forward this evening. As I said, a number of regional governments are on the defensive tonight. The all-important and import of professionals, workers from Cuba, particularly in the medical industry. Prime Minister Davis here is outrightly denying allegations of forced labor following threats from the Trump administration to revoke the U.S. visas of foreign government officials partaking in Cuba's labor export program if found engaging in unlawful labor recruitment. Here's Linton Ritchie Jr., and then we'll talk about it.
Well, this government don't intend to engage in any forced labor. It's against our laws.
Prime Minister Philip Davis is clearing the air on any potential wrongdoing involving the recruitment of Cuban nationals into the Bahamian workforce through Cuba's labor export program. Speaking to reporters on the sidelines of the RF Bahamas Economic Outlook Conference at Bahamar this morning, Davis responded to concerns after U.S. officials announced a crackdown on foreign government officials holding U.S. visas and their immediate families who may be exploiting Cuban workers. The nation's chief, however, appeared to be unbothered by the development, insisting that Bahamian laws already address the issues raised by international officials.
The decision is based upon the fact that there's a belief that we're engaging in forced labor by hiring Cubans. You know, our laws, starting from our Constitution, prohibits that kind of engagement.
But if there's a possibility that Cuban workers may have to be retracted, how could this impact the industries that rely on them to fill labor shortages?
It wouldn't affect us really because they've not been hiring Cuban nurses since the last cohort that they would have had, and those Cuban nurses would have already returned back to Cuba.
That's Muriel Lightbourne, president of the Bahamas Nurses Union, speaking on government's decision to bring in Cuban nationals to ease staff shortages in healthcare and education. Meanwhile, Dr. Marvin Smith, president of the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association, echoes similar sentiments.
In the last 8-9 years, you'd have seen an increase in the amount of Cuban pharmacists. But with the new policy from the State Department, so we'll see what happens.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell also weighed in, telling Eyewitness News that from the government's perspective, there's no cause for concern.
Decisions are for the United States. It's their country. They decide who comes and goes. The government is compliant with all international labor factors and rules and regulations.
Mitchell says discussions on the matter are already underway.
The CARICOM foreign ministers met in Washington a couple of days ago and met with one of their special envoys to have a discussion about all these multilateral issues, and it's a continuing conversation.
But as for Prime Minister Davis, he is standing firm on his position.
We don't think that we have done it. We are not doing it.
Well, the U.S. Embassy here in the Bahamas released a statement noting that the United States will continue its investigations into reports of Cuban forced labor to promote accountability for those involved in such acts, as countries should comply with international obligations. Ellington and Leslie, people may say, you know what, Madison, we've been importing, and nations in the Caribbean in particular, who are vulnerable when it comes to proper healthcare professionals and also just are lacking just based on the fact the sizes of many of our populations. And so we need that expertise coming in. And oftentimes it's to the Cuban doctor or, others as well. But in this instance, the Cuban doctors and nurses and that kind of thing. And so why now? But others may say, why not now if they are being underpaid for the level of their expertise? Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Shanique, this poses a real challenge for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, as we know that nurses and doctors, there's a global shortage of these professionals. And from time to time, the bigger countries to the north of us, the U.S.,
Take them?
People goes there for better opportunities, better pay, and better benefits. Then we have to go to these other nations like Cuba and one other place, I think the Philippines, that we get doctors and nurses from.
Africa.
And try to get some help to replenish what just leave from us. So this poses a real challenge to us. What the U.S. is saying is that they have this embargo on Cuba, and Cuba in international labor violations as it relates to them, what they call exploiting their people by having them travel to work, and the pay is remitted to the Cuban government rather than the people being able to get their full pay and all of that. We know that I think doctors in Cuba, they would get $60 a month, and the government takes care of them. And you know, America has been trying to break the back of Cuba and its communist regime for many, many years. And so for us, the challenge for us is, you know, how much we depend heavily on America and all of that in this region, and how far are we prepared to go? Are we prepared to, like I saw one Caribbean leader today said that he's prepared to do without a visa because his thing is that he wants to take care of people.
The great Ralph Gonzalez.
Yeah. So are we prepared? No. See, Shanique, it all is come down to what you're prepared to do.
Very
the
true.
Cuban government have decided over the years that you can punish us. This is what we're gonna be. However poor we are, this is what we're gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Bahamas government, it's Bahamian people prepared to say, well, do what you got to do. This is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to fall. So this way you have to make your decision, okay, going forward, whether you're going to continue to work with this program where you pay the Cuban government, or you're going to adhere to whatever this international labor thing that you all have signed on to, signatories on. And so this is what it comes down to, what you prepared to give up.
Listen, you know, this is just pure economic racism by the new government of the United States of America. First of all, that program was initiated by the Cubans in the 60s, the early 60s after Castro took over. And it was done for a socialist situation where the Caribbean, South and Central America, and as far away as Africa were having problems getting their people trained properly. Because of the size of the Cuban population versus all the entire Caribbean combined, they initiated that program to assist poor countries in the region, especially in the medical field, where they had a vast cadre of professional people who knew what they were doing. And the program went to every country in this hemisphere, including as far as Africa. The United States government now, with Rubio there, one of them Cubans who migrated from Cuba, and they racist as hell, they decided now, we pay the Cuban government, the Bahamas government, like every other government. It's just a stipend, because the Cuban government takes care of their expenses. We pay for their expenses here in the Bahamas and every other country in this hemisphere that they are there. This is a social outreach program. This is not a program where the Cuban government is selling their people. It is not, it's never been. The intent was to assist countries to uplift themselves in a manner due to the fact that Cuba had an excess amount of professional doctors in that country that they could have loaned them to countries. And the greatest beneficiary was the African countries. And they've been doing it now for almost, over 60, 70 years. This is nothing new. But you have a new government in place, and these are the rules to bend the back of Cuba and totally destroy Cuba economically. That's why the lights are always off. They sabotage the damn lights and everything else in Cuba. This is just the last stab in the back. And how you get the Caribbean leaders to dictate and do what you want them to do, you say, if the Cubans come here, if you bring them here, what investigation they're doing with what you pay the Cubans? It's a damn lie. It's an outright lie. Has nothing to do with what you pay them. I want to destroy Cuba completely, and if you let their doctors and nurses come in here, okay, we will then punish you for doing so by revoking your visa. Look what's happening to Canada. Countries are now fighting back that you don't own the world, man. You're just one of us. God didn't give you no special privilege. Why you want to go after the Cubans? And you want to dictate to the countries in the Caribbean and tell all the respective governments, if you bring them here to do anything, has nothing to do with no money, that we will punish you. We will take your visa. Take the goddamn visa. That's what
I know. Gonzalez
told him.
Gonzalez said
Take
that.
the visa.
He said he's willing to not even have it. I know if we willing to say
but stop
go
lying.
that far. But you know what?
It has nothing to do with no salary. Nothing to do with no salary.
This deserves further exploration. Certainly it does. But the official reason is that, listen, that forced labor that shows up in the way of being underpaid.
Name me one country in this hemisphere that has forced labor. Name me one. Just one. Name one.
Just because that agreement has been in place since the 1960s. Exactly. So they're saying, right, they're saying because of that, with the government and the Cuban government and the governments of the region,
I told you that's a social program that was implemented under Fidel Castro.
Gentlemen, we ain't get no further.
Over 70 years ago.
Let's move forward. But they're saying that it was flawed now, and it's even more flawed in 2025.
Might is right, eh?
This is what they're saying.
Might is right.
Well, might is right. Tell you the truth. Listen, with the campaign for the 2026 general election season well underway, silly season as they call it, everything is being put out on Front Street, like the damning voice note, reportedly of an aspirant in Grand Bahama, making disparaging comments against Bahamian women. That has been going around now, I think since last week. It was sent to me today. I think you heard it as well, Ellington. Yes. And so tonight we ask, ahead of the 2026 general election, what is acceptable? What is tolerable, obviously, and what is expected from
definite women supported this guy.
From the man or the woman who is knocking on your door asking you to vote for them in 2026. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this? I heard the voice note. I can't say who the individual was. I call no names on this show this evening. I'm just saying, though, it is reportedly and allegedly an aspirant. And so the question tonight is, what are we looking for? What are we demanding of the people needing and wanting our votes?
What did this man say? What did he say?
I think, Shanique, as we look into this, Bahamian men and women, professionals that are prepared to put themselves forth, have got to really think if you even have an inkling that you're about to go into public life. And that's why on a daily basis, even if you're not going into public life, you've got to count your cost of the things that you do, especially on these social media, and you've got to be upstanding. When you release these things out there, if you send these things to your friend, if you send them to your wife or your husband, your spouse, that's public. It is possible that the public can have that. And so, yes, we need to expect a leadership of these parties. You need to properly vet these people, know what their activities are on these social networks.
What was said? I
know what's going on in these communities.
Ellington, you could maybe fill Leslie in.
It was a voice note that was sent out from this particular aspiring candidate for this party.
Reportedly.
That spoke very disparaging to women, especially Bahamian women. I think he was comparing Bahamian women to women from the down south of us. Apparently, this person is married to a woman of another country, and he was speaking very disparagingly to Bahamian women about their terribleness and their ways and this.
So maybe you should go to that country to Dam. I'm right there.
And he is a Bahamian.
Go there.
But it is very unfortunate.
Go to her country to run.
And so, members of parliament, you need to, leaders of these parties, you need to have a really, really thorough.
How extensive should the track record be and the vetting, an investigation or an approval of wannabe candidates?
Your social network, the Facebook, the Instagram, the WhatsApp. There should be
stay off of them things.
You better stay off of those things, because let me tell you, and you're right. We're gonna obviously continue.
I didn't know how to go on one.
We're gonna continue this discussion because I saw just today. Now this is in the United States, but someone lost a high six-figure job because of their social media.
A few years ago, a whole beauty queen was dethroned because of when they found out some stuff that she was involved in.
Go ahead. What is it?
No, I got a call today from a high-level FNM former member of parliament, and apparently this lady Candace Scott, which she goes by the name, was on your show last night or sometime picking candidates.
Yes, Leslie, where you
I was
going with
told
this?
point blank that, first of all, they don't know such a person to be on any register in the Bahamas. She's not in any constituency in New Providence. This Candace Scott, and they say she does not speak for the Free National Movement, and she should not be entertained. First of all, they want to find out what her real name is if she got one. No, and I mean, they were really angry, and the chairman of the FNM came and said basically the same thing. that she does not speak for the FNM. You know, and I know this person is going around looking at candidates and assessing them. But maybe you should come claim it. What the hell is your name? Because the FNM is now complaining that there's no registered person in Bahamas that carries the name Candace Scott. I don't know your name, ma'am.
You're talking about the show last night and something that happened on the show.
I got a call from a good buddy of mine, and they are furious about it. That this person is not on the register in the Commonwealth of Bahamas.
Well, the person...
And it's not doesn't live in any consistency with that name. I mean, are you having people now on the radio and television with false names?
Nobody, listen,
no?
Leslie, no one on the show is called Candace Scott.
No?
No, sir.
What they called?
Man, listen to me. Leave me
listen, I told the brother I can talk about it because he asked me. I'm asking you, is there anyone in the Bahamas with that name?
So someone
with that legal
you,
name with a passport?
So a senior FNM
I
called
said,
you today?
A buddy of mine who was a member of parliament and a minister in the government. This ain't no joke. They want to know if this person has the right to speak on behalf of the FNM when that person don't exist with that name. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what the person is, and they don't really interest me.
That's really an FNM fight, Leslie.
Okay.
FNM, you know what the FNM? Y'all come on. Come here on Beyond the Headlines and let's work it out. Let's talk. I'll give you all a whole hour to discuss exactly what one of y'all called Leslie and said. Leslie can wait till the end of the show to just be like, you know.
I promised the brother I'll talk about it.
Oh, you promised the brother? Who's this brother? Why the brother can't come talk about it?
So Leslie Miller is now the mouthpiece of the Free National
Leslie, you are the mouthpiece of the FNM.
Now I finally found out.
Leslie is the spokesperson for the FNM.
The FNM has got themselves a pot cake.
This the pot cake for the FNM. Leslie, listen. Leslie, you already say whatever it is you all discuss. Let's move forward. Let's move forward.
I mean,
listen,
just come back.
I thank you all so much for joining in and tuning in.
Suppose I come back with him.
You might be an FNM, I believe that. It's so good to have you join us this evening. We look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.